This is the Serafim S3 for iPhone and for Android. I gotta be honest, it's kind of hard to come to a solid conclusion on my thoughts on this controller, mainly because of the way that it's priced on the website. So to start off about the price, it is going to be $150 on their website, but from what I can see, this pre-order sale that they have been going on for a little bit, so you can get it for $80. So I do think personally this is a sales tactic to try to get you to buy the controller, thinking that you're getting a decent discount on the controller for pre-ordering the controller. I placed my order in when the pre-order date had said 10 days, and I'm going to show on the screen now what the pre-order date says for this controller, but placed the order on the website, got it within a week. So partially thinking that this is more of a sales tactic, and this controller is truly $80, but if it is $150, yeah, let's get into it. All right, so let's talk about the hardware features on this controller. The controller features Hall effect joysticks on here, as well as Hall effect triggers on the back, which don't have a lot of tension on them, so can be easily pressed without worrying about your fingers cramping up over time. We do have an audio port on here as well, as the USB-C pass-through charging for the controller. On the back of the controller, there are some grips on here that can be changed out. Inside of the box, they do come with an extra set of grips that can be kind of swapped out. If you saw my unboxing of the video, saw my little bit of a struggle kind of switching out the grips there, but that is an option for you if you want to, if you don't like the texture style, if you want more of a, I think the backbone kind of has that same style of back area where it's smoother. It's not slippery by any means, for either the textured or non-textured style, but if you don't like this style that they have that includes just a little bit more of a bump, I don't know if you can kind of see this in the B-roll shot here, but the texture style grip on the back does kind of have more of a hump to it, and the smoother style is just kind of straight down with not so much of a hump in it. So it really just depends on your style. I am glad that they put this inside of the box. I'm also glad that they put the USB-C charging cable inside of the box as well. We don't really see that too often when doing unboxing, so it was nice to see. You also have an 8-way D-pad here, which is very beneficial to use, in my opinion, for fighting games. If you have to input certain combos that require that diagonal action, you can be able just to quickly roll your fingers through there and to quickly get the combination going, or quickly get the input going, not combination, but you know what I mean. But one thing that I did find is that the corners of the arrows here are they kind of stick up. I don't know if you can see that. And when I'm doing, when I'm kind of just quickly doing this action, my thumb kind of rubs up against the corner of that arrow, which is a little uncomfortable. So when doing inputs, didn't really have too many issues. Of course, when I do it while recording, can't pull it off all the way, but it works. I'm not the best at doing inputs, but you can definitely, do a quick roll through just to get an input off. Now, when it comes to cases, I feel like because of the length of this USB-C type connector, you might get by with slightly thicker cases, not too thick, right? We're not going the super ultra defender type cases that save your phone from an airplane drop from the sky, right? But if you do have a slightly thicker case, because of the way that this is, how it's just longer, right? You will be able to kind of get in there and penetrate, connect the phone to the controller with little struggle. You don't have to kind of push it in too much to get it to fit. I feel like it should just get it in there. So it's good to see that they did that. Talking about the rest of the buttons on the controller, you do have a little, looks like a little camera, a little snapshot button there where you can do screen recording to just, record gameplay and save that to your Google storage, your iPhone, Photos app. And then you have the Serafim app, the Serafim button that launches the Serafim console app. And then you have the simple, menu button, settings button, and what have you. Those are the biggest features of the controller overall. Also, a little side note that, isn't really a huge feature, but the fact that you can kind of move the USB-C port on the controller is definitely a great little feature to have when it comes to trying to angle that controller into the port itself, so you don't, break off your USB-C stick. When it comes to the size and the weight of the controller, this is a very light feeling controller, not too heavy at all. And then also when it comes to the size of the controller, it seems to be compared to the way I look at it. You either have the Gamester G8 at the kind of bigger end of it, and then the Backbone one at the smaller end of it. And this is kind of in between here, as you can kind of see in the shot. It's a little bit in between, right? It's not as big as the G8 due to the way that the controller was made on the G8. It's got that grippier side, a bigger, handles on the bottom. And then with the Backbone, it's just not as small as the Backbone. It's just a little bit in between both of them. So if you're kind of on the fence of either or, I would say this is a nice middle between the two. The face buttons on the controller definitely have a lot of space in between other parts of the controller, like the stick here and the additional like A, B, X, Y buttons here. Definitely a lot of space in between there, so it doesn't feel as cramped as I've seen other controllers that try to put everything in the small style. It kind of helps them to have just a little bit of a bigger controller when compared to the Razer Kishi V2, which is definitely a smaller controller, and you can kind of see that in the face buttons, how they're just cramped inside of there. So it's nice to see that this controller is it's kind of like a middle between, like I said, the Backbone and the G8. The sticks on the controller do have a good range of motion, so there's no issues there. Kind of still have that same console level feeling. The sticks, just a little bit smaller than your true console controller, but they do have that range of motion that I do personally prefer when compared to something like the Backbone, which doesn't really have that big of a range of motion. They feel more like Nintendo Switch, those Joy-Con sticks that they use on their controller. I'm not a big fan when it comes to playing FPS shooters. I do prefer a bigger range of motion, and this is what this controller has, which is great. So we're gonna do something just slightly a little different when it comes to reviewing the controller overall, and we're gonna take some time to review the app that the controller uses, the Serafim console app. I do find that unfortunately, just like the Backbone, there is a subscription fee to use the application. Now keep in mind, you do not need to use the app to use the controller. You don't even have to download the app to use the controller. But for a full, gaming experience, I do find that, using an app can be useful. I've used, when I use the Razer, I use the Razer Nexus app, which works pretty well. That is free. On the Google Play Store, I had to find out how much the prices were for the subscription on here. I was not too happy after kind of clicking around that the app has, it's locked down behind a subscription service. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about what if you are willing to pay the subscription fee for the application, what you get with that. So let's do that. Alrighty. So we get the phone plugged into the controller, and what we're going to do is hit the little S for the Serafim console app. That should take us right to it. Currently, I do have, I believe you get a free year trial on the controller. Not sure how long that's going to last. I'm not sure what their plans are on what to do with the application, but let's just talk about what you get when first signing up for the service. So on the left side here, we have home button, search. That's going to be a Twitch streaming icon to allow you to stream directly to Twitch. We have the gallery icon, which you can use when pressing the screenshot button to record videos. And then we have a settings button that just kind of goes over some of the settings. I did not find any remappable options within the controller. So if you want to remap your controller to fit a certain style, that option is not there for you, which is a bummer because once again, this is something you're paying for. Overall, the home section of the application looks very similar to the Backbone, to the Razer, their applications that they use for you to select games. You have certain games that are, you can kind of search for that are in the Play Store or in the Xbox Remote Play cloud streaming service. I believe you also have the NVIDIA GeForce Now as an option on here. If you already have that installed, you can quite quickly open that up from here, and then any other games that the controller supports should show up on the application once you launch the app. So that's pretty much the big things with this. Really don't think that the launcher should be locked behind a subscription service. Hopefully they change it, but currently that's kind of what it seems to be the case at the moment. Now for the Twitch application, when you load it up, you'll be asked to start recording and casting with the Serafim console, and it gives you all the stuff to, pretty much just wants you to confirm that you are fine with starting, recording or starting a stream through Twitch. The inside of the settings for here, when you go to record and stream, the quality on here says 360p at 30 FPS. I did do a test on my Twitch account, and I did notice that it was streaming at 1080p. At least that's what as a viewer, right, on my Twitch settings, I have the option to look at, at 1080p. So I'm not sure why the quality is, maybe this is just something that they haven't fixed. I'm not fully sure, but from what I could see, the quality looked pretty good when viewing on a phone. So not sure why that says 360p there, but who knows. One thing I did one thing that I thought was pretty cool is the internal and external volume, which just basically means that the internal volume is going to be for the game itself. So how loud you want the game, and then the external volume is going to be for the microphone for you as the caster, as the streamer. You have the option to, talk to the audience, talk to chat, talk to yourself if no one's in chat. That's there. That's something that I did not expect to see. I thought the microphone would be, muted with no ability to actually chat with chat. Overall, this controller does have a lot of things going for it. It has a lot of things done right. The only thing that I'm really confused about, and once again, I do think this is more of a sales tactic, is that price. So when kind of comparing the controller overall, I think it's best to split it up in two ways, right? When it comes to overall the conclusion of what I think about this controller. If this controller is truly priced at $80, it's a good buy. If you don't, maybe you don't like the G8 for whatever reason, maybe it's just a little too big, a little too bulky. Maybe, you want to go ahead and go with the Serafim S3 controller instead, because it is just a step up from the backbone in terms of its size overall, but it's not as big as the G8. So, go ahead and check this out. It might be worth it. And it is, $10 less than the Backbone One retail price. But if this controller truly does cost $150, I would go ahead and skip this. And if you've got the money to to spend $150, you better be off going with a Razer Kishi Ultra, as that costs the same and has way more bells and whistles when compared to this controller. This controller doesn't have much. The Razer Kishi Ultra, has the vibration. They have RGB lights. You just get more with the controller overall. Also, to call out, the app on the controller is not. It's not a subscription fee. It's free on the Razer Nexus app when compared to the Serafim console application, which, by the way, in my testing, I still have not seen that app show up on the App Store. I'm not sure when that might show up. Maybe it's named differently. I did look at all the apps that the company had on the App Store. Did not see the Serafim console app yet, so I'm guessing that still might be in the works. Not fully sure there. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this controller. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, give this video a like. Give it a dislike if you didn't. I'm here for it all. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Subscribe for more and stay wild.